to talk to us about his big win at Oxford 250 a couple of weeks ago. Michael Atwell will be here to preview Freedom Factory this weekend. Austin Teras, he's coming off a big win at Wiscasset and the Boss Hog. Aaron Willison's going to be here after his must-see win at Wasso. Joe Skotnicki, about all the big things Racing Champions has got going on. And Zach Evans from Racing America will be checking in with us as well. And, you know, Jess, I really loved our last show that we were able to look back on an interview we did with Scott Bloomquist a few years ago, and I forgot to put the diecast on the desk.
Dude, you had one job.
Yeah, so we got one of Zach's diecast here, autographed by Scott Bloomquist. We were going to have it on the desk then, but I think it's apt. I think the World 100's coming up this weekend, right, Zach? So a lot of tribute schemes for Scott Bloomquist to be at Eldora, and
we're so lucky that we have this collection that we can pull from.
Toys.
Yeah.
We got all these
Zach.
toys back in our office. Oh, collectibles that we have back in our office. Don't worry, I got plenty of those collectibles at my home office as well. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to talk to Oxford 250 winner, Jeff Taylor.
Five-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market. Aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials. Tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
It's a big night of UARA action at Florida's Freedom Factory, Saturday night, September 7th. The UARA National Super Late Models bring some of the country's best grassroots racers to the Freedom Factory in the Bigley Memorial Tune-Up 125. If that's not enough, the UARA Sportsmen will also be in action. It's the Bigley Memorial 125 for the UARA Super Late Models and more. Saturday night, September 7th at Freedom Factory. And you can catch it all on RacingAmerica.tv.
Communication is key in the racing world. When it comes to at-the-track communications, there is only one place to call. Racing Electronics is the #1 source for professional race communications worldwide. Over 20 years in the business proves their dedication to the sport. With every driver and crew communication, two-way radios and headsets, scanners and more, Racing Electronics is a one-stop communication source for all your motorsports needs. Before the green flag flies, make sure you have all your team communication gear from Racing Electronics. Stop by and see a Racing Electronics representative at the track near you. Visit their showroom in Concord, North Carolina, or order online at racingelectronics.com.
The Oxford Championship Series brings 8 divisions of short track racing to Oxford Plains Speedway Saturday afternoon, September 7th. Super late models will be in action along with limited street stocks and more. It's all Saturday afternoon, September 7th, only on RacingAmerica.tv.
You're watching Racing America.
Glad to have you back with us here on the Bullring, and our lucky dog is the winner of the 2024 Oxford 250, which you saw right here on Racing America. That is Jeff Taylor, and Jeff joining us on phone now from Distance Race Products, his business that he does so well with. And can you believe that you're hearing your name with Oxford 250 winner after so many years finally?
Not yet, really. It seems pretty odd. You know, a lot of years of trying, a lot of years of failing. You know, to finally get it one time, it's quite special. That's for sure.
Jeff, everyone was so excited about this win, I think. You know, everyone pulls for their favorite driver, but this was a win that was just exciting for everyone in the stands, everyone watching at home. I saw so much support on social media. So for maybe the folks that don't know, tell us a little bit why this is so big for you and your team.
Well, for us personally, you know, that is and was home, you know, for 90% of my racing career. So, you know, we tried so hard for so many years, and, you know, it's in the mid-20s as far as attempts, and, and we had cars through the years that we could have won, cars we should have won, and just something always would go wrong, whether it be mechanical, luck, myself screwing it up, and it just was so hard to win. Some people win it right the first time or right when they first start trying, but not for us. And there we had won, luckily through the years, all the races they had, championships that we, didn't win them all, but won a lot of them. And, and for fans and people there through the years, I've worked for, I ain't going to say all of them, but boy, I bet you it's an honest 75% of them I've worked for, built cars for through the years. So, they saw firsthand, how much or how hard it was to win and how much you tried. So, I think everybody kind of likes a story like that. And, and to finally get it done after all these years. And, it's the only time we've raced all summer. It just made it really special for a lot of different reasons.
It really was like two different races, and I know you said after the rain because, it was right at halfway, so we basically ran the race under sunlight and a certain set of conditions, and then the second half of the race in another set of conditions. What was the biggest change for you in the car that made it so much better in the second half?
Well, for us, it just, it's like any time the track gets rained or it cools off, it generally comes up with more grip. Now, for my car, I needed a little grip on both ends. And, it just seemed to balance it out so good. It turned better. And in return, after turning better, it gave it more traction. So for me, it worked out great. Now, obviously, in the end of the day, I don't know, but my car was the only one that helped. Everybody else kind of, not everybody, but a majority of the people that had been up front kind of fell off a little bit. So it just was a perfect storm of circumstances. And on that day, in my car, it all worked. And, and shortly after that, we stop and, you end up with a 4-tire, change. We did it 2 at a time, but, so at the same time, you're also putting on different tires, but between the two, and weather probably being the biggest factor, it really was like night and day.
And there at the end, it was you and Bubba Pollard. And like we talked about earlier, this was a fun quote from Bubba. He said he doesn't like running second, but he's okay with how it ended with Jeff winning. Again, one of those people that was so excited to see you and your team in victory lane. What was it like there at the end racing against Bubba, who's one of the most dominant racers right now?
Yeah, I've been asked that a lot. And honestly, in the end, thinking back on it, it's probably one of the best scenarios I could have had, because with him being right behind me, basically, it never gave you time to think about what was actually happening. Like you never had time to say, man, I could win this thing. Maybe this is the year. You never could think about that because he kept your attention. You had to be mindful of what was going on, and before you know it, it's like the race is over. And obviously I've watched him race, and I've raced with him a few times. He's come up, and obviously if you don't mess with him, I don't never see him mess with anybody. So I was pretty confident that he wouldn't do anything crazy, and just, so it just worked out. And like I say, you just kept your attention, kept your focus, because, you can't give it away. And it made it peaceful, if you can imagine,
Well, I'll tell you, hopefully for him, it'll come back around at the Snowball Derby, because that to me is the same comparison. If he can win that like you did the Oxford 250, congratulations, Jeff, man. It was great to see. It was a great race. And as we said, we were just glad we were able to be there and be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for putting it all online, and, and having these shows like this keeps short track racing going. That's for sure.
We'll get back to building those cars, all right?
Okay, I will.
All right, we'll see you later.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that's Oxford 250 winner Jeff Taylor. When we come back, UARA at Freedom Factory this weekend. We'll talk to Michael Atwell when we come back.
RacingAmerica.tv has another weekend of short track racing coming up. It begins with a busy Saturday, including coverage of the UARA at Freedom Factory, APC United Late Models in Ontario at Delaware Speedway, Show Me the Money Pro Late Models from Montgomery, and the Montana Super 5 Series at Mission Valley. Racing America winds the weekend down on Sunday at Wisconsin's Slinger Super Speedway with championship night for the late models and more. Spanning the continent with grassroots racing this weekend on RacingAmerica.tv.
This is Racing America, the biggest stars.
I enjoyed it. I felt good out there. I would love to come here and race.
And the inside info.
This is the T-bar setup. This clips into the bottom of the cam lock.
The only fast channel powered by the NASCAR Cup team owners who know all about speed.
How am I even going to drive for 3.5 hours without having a radio in the car?
The most NASCAR team content anywhere. Climb on board.
Looking to start a new career path in motorsports or searching for something new in your racing journey? Racer Jobs is your destination for providing the most current job openings from top racing teams, manufacturers, sanctioning bodies, and suppliers. Whether you're a budding race engineer, a seasoned mechanic, or a marketing ace, we consistently refresh our listings with new roles that could meet your ambitions. Looking for a great candidate as an employer? Then tap into our Racer Jobs audience and database to find that perfect candidate. Go to racerjobs.com today.
Glad to have you back with us on the Bullring as we look forward to more great racing this weekend coming up at Freedom Factory down in Florida, UARA National and UARA Sportsman Division. And joining us now, a former winner at Freedom Factory, Michael Atwell. And Michael, right in the midst of all the UARA national stuff, I really appreciate you joining us today. I know it's going to be a busy next week and a half or so.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having me. Excited to be able to race a few races here in the coming week, and hopefully we can get some good results.
Well, tell me a little bit about Freedom Factory. You know, this is the Big League Memorial Tune-Up. You won it at what was that? 417 down near Punta Gorda, and now you've won it at Freedom Factory too. For old school fans, this the old DeSoto Speedway. How is the racetrack? Did it surprise you when you went there last year?
I mean, it reminded me definitely of old Bradenton. I raced Sportsman's there when I was younger and was first starting. A rough surface, but a fast place, different lines that you can run, and it was a good time. They repaved it down in 1 and 2, which definitely helped, but 3 and 4 was still rough. So it's all about corner entry and trying to get through the center.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more. Well, I know you can't share too much, but what's in your notebook and what your expectations are for you and your team going into the event?
Why don't you just ask him what the meeting was about too? I'm sure.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, and let me get my notebook out and pen while you're at it.
No, I've been working with Chris Davidson, Mike Garvey this year, racing their cars on the SRL National or UARA National Tour. And we built the notebook up, had some good results. So definitely going in there looking for, the opportunity, chance to win. I think the notebook from last year will definitely help out a lot. And we'll go there with practice day and see what we can do.
How did that come about, getting hooked up with Chris Davidson and those guys? I know it's allowed you to go out west and go to Berlin and places like that, and you've been strong and competitive at these places that you've never been to before.
Yeah, it was. We started working with Mike probably 4 or 5 years ago. And then going to races, and being parked next to Chris and working with each other, building notebooks between each other. And when we're at the track, it's easier, obviously, if we're both trying different things, to come up with one denominator that is better. And then I've been out west with Chris or different races and just helped out on the team. And I guess Chris must have decided I wasn't too bad of a guy after all and offered me the opportunity to drive his car. And, it's been great for me. So I've been super excited this year and super excited for the future.
Now, have you still got your car, the 51, or where does all that stand?
Yeah. My car is still in Naples, and we run races here in Florida or Pensacola, that kind of stuff. Mainly the races I run with Chris are the national tour races, and then from there we kind of decide with my car what races we want to go to. So we'll race Bradenton Saturday with Chris's car, and then race Owasso Wednesday, and then I come back and we'll take my car to New Smyrna on the following Saturday.
So as you look at this UARA National Tour, you mentioned the next couple of races, including the Love's Travel Center 150 at Owasso next Wednesday, which you'll also be able to see here on Racing America. You got the return of the World Crown 300 coming up at Cordele in October, and of course you round the season out with the Bigley Memorial, over 30,000 to win there back at Freedom Factory. It's got to be a lot of fun for you to travel to these races and be a part of these big events in front of really big crowds. I mean, Berlin, just a lot of the places you guys have gone this year, you've had really big crowds.
Yeah, it's been super cool rolling into these places, and just being able to see the landscape, and then you show up to the racetrack and being able to see the different nuances of all the racetracks. Going to Berlin always been a dream of mine, and it was the 250. We had a good run. Sadly, got mixed up there in the middle with tire stagger, but we were able to come back and have a good run. But like you said, it's just really cool to see all the fans that are sitting in the stands there. Shows how much short track racing means to those people up there. But I'm excited to get to Owasso too. Mike works with a lot of people around the country, so when we show up to tracks, a lot of times we have a decent baseline set up, and then we can work from there. So I'm really excited to get to Owasso. I was looking forward to that in the beginning of the year, and I'm excited to get there now.
Well, I think you got a shot to win several races here in the next few months. We wish you the best of luck, and really appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. It's Michael Atwell. You'll be able to see him at Freedom Factory this weekend if you're down in Florida. If not, you can join us right here on Racing America. We come back, we'll talk to Austin Teras, coming off a big win up in Maine this past weekend.
Welcome to the new home for race fans, Racing America. Live short track racing.
Cannot do that all the way around.
Exclusive team content.
I bet. That's what they all say. Any NASCAR fan is really a short track fan at heart.
Behind the scenes access. From grassroots to NASCAR, join us at the home for race fans everywhere. Racing America, it's in our DNA.
UARA Super Late Models make their first trip to Owasso Speedway Wednesday night, September 11th, in the Love's Travel Stop 150. Come see the best Super Late Models in the country as they hit the nearly century-old speedway as part of the UARA National Series. Plus action for the Truck Series, Sport Compact, and Street Stocks. It's the Love's Travel Stop 150, Wednesday night, September 11th at Owasso Speedway. For more information, go to UARA National on Facebook and catch it only on RacingAmerica.tv.
This is Racing America, the biggest stars.
I enjoyed it. I felt good out there. I would love to come here and race.
And the inside info.
This is the T-bar setup. This clips into the bottom of the cam lock.
The only fast channel powered by the NASCAR Cup team owners who know all about speed.
How am I even going to drive for 3.5 hours without having a radio in the car?
The most NASCAR team content anywhere. Climb on board.
Welcome back to the Bullring. Alan and Jess here with you this afternoon, and joining us now, a young man who's had quite a 2020, well, quite a couple of seasons actually. Austin Teras winner the Boss Hog this past weekend at Wiscasset, and Austin, congratulations! Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always great to be on. Talk to Alan and Jess here.
So tell me a little bit about the race. You don't, I don't think you race at Wiscasset more than once or twice a year. It's the biggest racetrack in Maine. Big field, $15,000 to win. Just take me through how the day played out and how you guys ended up with the checkered flag.
Yeah. So we go to Wiscasset once a year for that Boss Hog race. We love to support them. It's a great facility, great people, and they went to time trials this year. Usually it was a heat race, and we got to qualify up front. Didn't have the best redraw, but the top was really good. They sprayed some traction compound in the second groove, and it just worked all night. We swapped the lead with Kelly Moore back and forth a little bit, and had a good, clean race, and had a lot of fun.
And this is your first career Boss Hog 150, and this race has just become one of those really must-see events, especially being on a holiday weekend. Lots of cars there, packed grandstands, the trophy's huge. Where would this rank in your career, this win?
Yeah, it's definitely right up, pretty high up there. I mean, my first pass win, that was near and dear to my heart, but the Boss Hog's a really cool event. It's getting bigger and bigger. I think 44 cars showed up for the race, and to win that, it means a lot. It's definitely right at the top.
Okay, so before I forget, I don't know if you can see here on our desk or not, if we could take a wide shot. We've got an old Scott Bloomquist car here. So you know where I'm going with this. That car that you won the open race with, Oxford 250 weekend at Oxford, looks more like this car than a regular pro stock or a late model. You guys put the effort into that car and went out there and totally dominated. And I think I can't wait to see what shows up next year for that open race, because I think you guys caught everybody a little bit off guard. But what was that like, driving that car that you could do so much with at Oxford?
It was totally different from anything else I've driven at Oxford. Oxford's a low grip racetrack. You're sliding around. You can't use horsepower, but with all the body work that we did in the shop, it had tons of downforce, and we could use all the motor. And I'd never been like that around Oxford, so it was kind of weird, and it took a minute to get used to. But when we got to Sunday's car, with the regular body on it, I was wishing I had that big spoiler back.
Yeah, I think we said that during the broadcast. I was like, man, I guarantee you he wishes he had that car again. That was something.
Well, what's on deck for the rest of the season for you? Where are we going to see you next?
We go to Oxford for just a Saturday night show to end the year off. We're not really great in points. We're going to finish third or second because we missed a race. And then the week after, we go to the Mike Stevens Memorial up at Petty in Canada. And then we go to White Mountain, and that's getting to be the end of the year.
Now, I know you guys run what is considered a big motor, a built motor, as opposed to the crates that have less horsepower, and the less horsepower because, as you said, a lot of those tracks up in New England are flat and don't have a lot of grip. But I know you ventured out to Berlin for the UARA races. Any chance we may see you try to do a little bit more stuff, down south or out in the Midwest with cars that are, similar to what you're driving?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'd like to. We're working on some stuff to be able to race some of the bigger races down south more competitively. We went to New Smyrna with our distance car, and it was a struggle. We ran okay, mid-pack, but, maybe a little bit better, more suited car for down south, and I will definitely be back to Berlin. Maybe some more tracks out that way because that was a lot of fun.
Well, it's been great watching you develop over the last several years. And, there was a time where you didn't see a lot of, young guys coming up because it was so dominated by Johnny Clark and Ben Rowe and Cassius and guys like that. But you and lots of other young guys are coming along and really showing your worth here. We've enjoyed it and want to congratulate you and wish you best of luck the rest of the year.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it so much, Jess and Alan. It's always great to talk with you guys.
All right, Austin Teras again coming off his big win at the Boss Hog at Wisconsin. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit of cup race, a little bit of short track racing with the one and only Zach Evans.
Calling all race fans. We have launched a new travel site where the race fans can enjoy free savings and upgrades on all of their travel needs. RacerTravel.com is free to join and unlocks unpublished bookings and rates for our racing community. Up to 50% off on more than 1 million rooms across the U.S. and Canada with unpublished discounts on hotel bookings. Unlock a hidden selection of hotels and rates that cater to your travel preferences. Whether you're heading out to the track as a competitor, fan, or anything in between, use Racer Travel for all your race, business, and vacation travel needs.
The Fall Brawl returns to Montgomery Motor Speedway Saturday night, September 7th. To see the best pro late models in the country as the Show Me the Money series competes for 100 laps, plus the 71st anniversary celebration, late model sportsman race, street stocks, and crown stocks. It's the Fall Brawl featuring the Show Me the Money series Saturday night, September 7th at Montgomery Motor Speedway. For more information, go to montgomerymotorspeedway.org, and you can see it only on racingamerica.tv.
Communication is key in the racing world. When it comes to at-the-track communications, there is only one place to call. Racing Electronics is the #1 source for professional race communications worldwide. Over 20 years in the business proves their dedication to the sport. With every driver and crew communication, two-way radios and headsets, scanners and more, Racing Electronics is a one-stop communication source for all your motorsports needs. Before the green flag flies, make sure you have all your team communication gear from Racing Electronics. Stop by and see a Racing Electronics representative at the track near you. Visit their showroom in Concord, North Carolina, or order online at racingelectronics.com.
It's a big night of UARA action at Florida's Freedom Factory, Saturday night, September 7th. UARA National Super Late Models bring some of the country's best grassroots racers to the Freedom Factory in the Bigley Memorial Tune-Up 125. If that's not enough, the UARA Sportsmen will also be in action. It's the Bigley Memorial 125 for the UARA Super Late Models and more. Saturday night, September 7th at Freedom Factory. And you can catch it all on racingamerica.tv.
Hi, I'm Noah Gregson, and you're watching Racing America.
I love the Game 7 heavy pressure moment. Like, for whatever reason, I just feel like I do a lot better under those situations than not having a lot of pressure. So, yeah, I mean, I put a lot of pressure on myself just going into this week. Last week at Daytona was the worst race by, a mile I've ever raced in my entire career. I was embarrassed, so embarrassed. I texted Richard literally right before we got on the plane. I said, I don't ever want to talk about this race again. We're not going to talk about it this week. I promise you I will make it up to you next week. And, I knew that it was going to be one of those do-or-die moments, right? And we talked about it before the race today. This is the last bullet in the chamber, and we knew that this was going to be a really good opportunity for us, just based on how we raced in the spring, and if we could just get our car a little bit better, and if we executed all night long, I knew we were going to be in the mix, and we executed, and we were obviously in the mix at the end.
Well, that's what Chase Briscoe had to say after his big win in the Southern 500 Sunday. The road to the Cup now continues into the playoffs. Joining us now from Racing America to talk a little bit about everything is the one and only Zach Evans. And I don't think that anybody had on their race menu Harrison Burton and Chase Briscoe winning the last two races before the playoffs.
No, that definitely shook up the playoff picture here to wrap up the regular season. But hey, that's the beauty of this playoff system, right? All it takes is that one win, and you're right there in the mix. And those two guys are going to be racing for a championship over the next few weeks.
And I will take, not to interrupt, Jess. I'm
Please.
sorry.
You always do.
Sorry.
No, go on.
But I will remind folks, because I actually just thought about it myself. But if you remember the year that Tony Stewart won the championship in 2014, he got in by the skin of his teeth and then went out there and won 5 of the last 10 races. You don't go out at Darlington and win by a fluke. And Chase Briscoe was at the front of that race, the entire race, right there in Kyle Larson's tracks. Zach.
Oh, so that was for me. That wasn't
sorry.
okay.
No, what?
I know why we ended up with the Southern 500 as the playoff finale this year. It's because of the Olympic break and all of that. I'd love to see that become a thing more often. For what you just described, you weren't going to back into a Southern 500 win, and leading into it, there were some drivers, Christopher Bell for one, that was like, it's great for the guys who have won a race during the regular season and are already locked in. Because normally when the Southern 500 is the first race of the playoffs, you can't
enjoy it.
You can't enjoy it. You got to sit there and think about the points, think about the playoffs, think about trying to get into the round of 12. For those guys, they could actually go into the weekend and just try to win the Southern 500. Yeah. And I get it. It is what it is. It's probably not going to be that way until 4 years from now when we have the Olympics again. But I really liked it.
Yeah, I did too.
That's a good point about, because it is a crown jewel event. And what did you say? I've lost my train of thought. What were you just saying?
Well,
I have I have only been following the sport since it's been the playoffs.
Sure.
So I don't obviously I'm going to be like, the playoffs are awesome because I don't have anything to compare it to. But everyone at this point should be very entertained, at least the last 2 weeks. It makes it exciting. I think it makes it exciting for maybe those fans that are a little I don't want to say bandwagon fans, but not as intense about the.
Yeah, you care, like at Darlington, you cared about Chris Buescher and Bubba Wallace racing for 11th,
yes.
which you'd never cared about
yes.
20 years ago. And you cared about Chase Briscoe and Kyle Busch racing for a win that was even bigger than just the fact that it was the Southern 500.
Yes. There was a lot of fun storylines to this playoff format creates a lot of fun storylines when it gets down to this point in the season.
Yeah. Well, we talk about enough of this Cup stuff as it is, so I'm done talking about it for now, and want to talk a little bit about short tracks with Zach. And Zach, you were with us at Oxford for the Oxford 250, and again, I kind of think of things as we go along, but thinking about Jeff Taylor winning the 250, that is kind of like when Bubba Pollard, if and when he ever ends up winning the Snowball.
Bubba mentioned that in one interview I saw, kind of that connection, right? The cliche or the narrative that always comes up when you have a driver chasing a big win is always Dale Earnhardt in the 500, right? I think for the people who are around Oxford Plains Speedway, the fans, the people involved with the Speedway, the people who race there, it was bigger than that because it had been so long. I mean, it had been more than 20 years. It had been close to 30 years. I mean, he had been, he's a 9-time track champion at Oxford Plains. I believe the first
it was in the late 90s.
Right. So, I mean, you're talking just years and years and years that people have been hoping to see Jeff Taylor win this race and to finally get done. And again, no fluke. Had to hold off Bubba Pollard at the end of the race. I mean, and just drove an incredible final, what was that, about 50 laps, I guess?
Great.
To win that race. Just storybook, puts goosebumps thinking back to it.
Hopefully we'll get more guys up there in the future, but it is hard. It's a hard tow for those guys to get to Wisconsin, and for the Florida guys to get to Indiana and all these different places. And I just wish we could figure out a way in pavement racing to make it where you could get, 15 or 20 guys that could follow it like what we do in dirt. But there's folks trying, and we're trying to get there, and hopefully we'll see that. Zach, thanks for being with us, man, as always.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk to Aaron Willison coming off a big must-see win at Owasso.
This is Racing America, the biggest stars.
I enjoyed it. I felt good out there. I would love to come here and race.
And the inside info.
This is the T-bar setup. This clips into the bottom of the cam lock.
The only fast channel powered by the NASCAR Cup team owners who know all about speed.
How am I even going to drive for 3.5 hours without having a radio in the car?
The most NASCAR team content anywhere. Climb on board.
RacingAmerica.tv has another weekend of short track racing coming up. It begins with a busy Saturday, including coverage of the UARA at Freedom Factory, APC United Late Models in Ontario at Delaware Speedway, Show Me the Money Pro Late Models from Montgomery, and the Montana Super 5 Series at Mission Valley. Racing America winds the weekend down on Sunday at Wisconsin's Slinger Super Speedway with championship night for the late models and more. Spanning the continent with grassroots racing this weekend on RacingAmerica.tv. The Oxford Championship Series brings 8 divisions of short track racing to Oxford Plains Speedway Saturday afternoon, September 7th. Super late models will be in action along with limited street stocks and more. It's all Saturday afternoon, September 7th, only on RacingAmerica.tv.
Well, if you were able to join us on this Labor Day weekend, you might have enjoyed the must-see wing sprint cars at Owasso Speedway in Michigan. And if you did, you saw Aaron Willison get another win in must-see, and Aaron is joining us now. And Aaron, first off, I got to ask you, so you make the trek down to the States from British Columbia. Are we in British Columbia now?
Yeah, I'm back at home now. Just hanging out in the living room. Just dropped my daughter off for her first day of grade 1, so just waiting on her to get off school here pretty soon. Go pick her back up.
Well, for the folks that don't understand, British Columbia is in the Pacific time zone.
Okay.
So that makes sense that whenever I texted Aaron at 8:45 Eastern, he didn't get back to me for a little while. So sorry about that if it woke you up or anything.
Yeah, no worries. I was kind of rolling around in bed going, what's this joker want?
Yeah, who's this guy? Now you're still saying that.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So yeah, we're 3 hours behind out here, all the way out on the West Coast. I'm just outside of Vancouver, so just directly north of Seattle.
Okay. That was helpful because geography is not our strong suit, as the listeners know. Yeah, I guess it's me. But anyway, congratulations on first day of kindergarten. That is huge. First grade.
Grade 1. Grade 1.
Okay.
We got kindergarten knocked out of the park last year, so grade 1 already. So yeah, it goes fast. Time flies.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And congratulations on, I think this was your second win of the season at Owasso.
Correct. Yeah. Win number 2 at Owasso. Win number 2 with the must-see sprint cars. So it's been awesome. We've had a really strong year. I got an opportunity to come out and drive the Mopar Missile, the famed 50M owned by Dick Myers of Ram Engineering, and it's been a great opportunity. We came out and ran 4 times with the must-see sprint cars this year, and we're able to be parked on the front straight all 4 times and win 2 of them. So it's been great opportunity working with great people and good car, right? You can't say no to stuff like that.
What is it, anytime we have you guys on that drive wing sprint cars, especially on pavement, I have to ask, but first off, I know it's got to be a ton of fun, but you really don't have a ton of time to make, well thought out decisions, right?
Yeah, no, their cars, the style of racing is very, very different compared to like late models and modifieds and stuff like that, where our main events are short, like 40 laps is a long haul for us. And that's just the way the cars are. We can only go 40, 50 laps on a 3/8 mile before we're running out of fuel. And of those 40 or 50 laps, it's kind of a 100-lap late model race. It's just very, very compressed, where we're still working through tire management phases and managing our brakes and engine and making sure we don't burn our stuff down early on, and how we bring the tires in the initial 10 laps of the race can also be very important. But the wing cars on pavement are very aerodynamic. They're aerosensitive cars, so they're almost like running a Winston Cup car on a 1.5 miles, where dirty air is a big problem. How you follow people is very important. How you position yourself behind other cars is very important. And then with all that, track position is very important. So they're confidence cars, and you just have to get out there and you have to take risks and try and make things happen in those opening kind of 5-6 laps while everyone's grouped together, and position yourself well for the second 2/3 of the main event, more or less, to be able to get stuff done.
Where do you see wing sprint cars at right now? I know it seems like you're having more and more big money races. You got the king of the wing out west that seems to do well out there, and must see in the Midwest and the East. What, just from your perspective, how does the outlook look for, these top cars?
Well, it's in a really positive space right now. Pavement wing sprint car racing is something that's just slowly been building. It's always been around, and like everything, it goes through little cycles. But right now, it's got a lot of momentum behind it. Davey Hamilton Jr.'s done a fair bit with his open wheel showdown race that was in Vegas last year, giving us a $50,000 to win pavement wing sprint car race, and nothing like that had been done before. And it's created a real platform for us, and it's drawn a lot of attention to this racing, and it's been going on all over the country. In the Northwest, where I am, is a real stronghold of it. We got a lot of cars out here, a lot of good teams, and really high quality racing. And it just doesn't quite get the spotlight because it's a little compartmentalized, where there's a really strong group and a whole bunch of really good cars up in the Northwest. And then you got to go all the way to the Midwest to run with the must-see group. And then there's a group down in Florida that run a fair bit. So there's kind of 3 pockets where this type of racing is really strong. And the event in Vegas last year was a great opportunity to get everyone in one place and do that. So that's going on again this November, another $50,000 to win open wheel showdown in Vegas at the Bullring. So it's creating a lot of momentum, and it's making the sport really strong, and it's given us the opportunity to race on a national stage. And with that, the payouts keep raising. Everything keeps inching up, and we're racing in more televised, more heavily promoted events for bigger and bigger purses, and it's given a lot of attraction to the spectacle that these cars put on, and how fast and how good the racing is.
Well, we're glad to be a part of it, and love watching these races here on Racing America. Again, want to congratulate you on the win this past weekend, and look forward to seeing you a few more times here in 2024.
That sounds great. Thanks for having me on the show today. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. That's Aaron Willison coming off that big win at Owasso. Next time you'll be able to see the must-see cars. A little over a week, they'll be at Birch Run. That'll also be back in Michigan. We come back, we'll talk with Joe Skotnicki of the Race of Champions as they get ready for the big 250 coming up in a couple of weeks.
The greatest tradition in modified racing continues for the 74th time, and you can't miss it. Presque Isle Downs and Casino Race of Champions Weekend. 3 huge days, September 20th through the 22nd. 7 big divisions of incredible racing and excitement, where every lap counts. 1 location, Lake Erie Speedway in Northeast PA. Presque Isle Downs and Casino Race of Champions Weekend. Sportsman, super stocks, late models, street stocks, 4-cylinders, TQ midgets, and the 74th annual Lucas Oil Race of Champions 250. September 20th through the 22nd. Race times and advance tickets at LakeErieSpeedway.com. The greatest tradition in modified racing continues. Don't miss it.
Communication is key in the racing world. When it comes to at-the-track communications, there is only one place to call. Racing Electronics is the #1 source for professional race communications worldwide. Over 20 years in the business proves their dedication to the sport. With every driver and crew communication, two-way radios and headsets, scanners and more, Racing Electronics is a one-stop communication source for all your motorsports needs. Before the green flag flies, make sure you have all your team communication gear from Racing Electronics. Stop by and see a Racing Electronics representative at the track near you. Visit their showroom in Concord, North Carolina, or order online at racingelectronics.com.
This is Racing America. The biggest stars
I enjoyed it. I felt good out there. I would love to come here and race.
and the inside info.
This is the T-bar setup. This clips into the bottom of the cam lock.
The only fast channel powered by the NASCAR Cup team owners who know all about speed.
How am I even going to drive for 3.5 hours without having a radio in the car?
The most NASCAR team content anywhere. Climb on board.
I'm Ray Evernham, and you're watching Racing America.
Welcome back to the Bullring. Hopefully you've been able to enjoy lots of ROC racing here on Racing America this year. ROC Modifieds will be in action next week at Chemung Speedway. And then it's the ROC 250, the legendary race of champions at Lake Erie Speedway. Joining us now from ROC is Joe Skotnicki. And Joe, thanks for joining us. And you guys run one of the busiest schedules of the year. It's finally starting to wind down some, but got some big things left to go.
We do. We've got Lake Erie coming up. We've got Chemung Speedrome a week from Saturday night on the 14th, which is in conjunction with the Watkins Glen event that weekend. And we always do a night before the Glen event at Chemung. So we've got that. And then it's all things pointed towards Lake Erie and Race Champions weekend with the Erie Sports Commission and Lake Erie Speedway. And we're looking for a giant weekend again out there in Northeast Pennsylvania.
I think it's always so great to have these events at short tracks that are kind of adjacent to a NASCAR race or a bigger series going on in the same weekend. Tell us a little bit about what's on the docket there and what goes into planning an event so that you can bring some of those national series fans to your series.
Well, obviously there's some advertising that goes on in conjunction with it, where we try to convince those short track fans to come on over and watch a short track event. In the past, this has been a modified race, but because it was back-to-back weekends with Lake Erie, we chose to run our Race Champion Sportsman Modified Series. So we may not have a national driver in the event, but still a great night of short track racing with the Sportsmen and the Super Stocks. We're going to run the Chemung Hobby Stocks and, of course, our Race of Champions four-cylinder dash series at Chemung. It's great to highlight on those weekends alongside the national series what really goes on and what gives those drivers an opportunity or the desire to achieve that next level. So I feel like we're always trying to provide that and give the fans a good showcase to look at maybe who's coming along next.
You know, when you have a series or a racetrack, you always like to have that marquee event, and you guys actually have a series almost around a marquee event, the actual Race of Champions, just like the series is named. And it's such a legendary race. It's back at Lake Erie this year. What does this race mean to the Northeast?
In my mind, it means everything. The Al Gerber Trophy, when we took over in 2016, I wanted to make it like the Stanley Cup. So the winner gets to keep the cup, the trophy until the next year. We actually just retook possession of it. We have a traditional night with the Sodas Mike Rod Club, which is out by Spencer Speedway, where the kids get to look at the trophy, hang out with it, ride around the racetrack, their little racetrack in a pace truck, and do some photo ops and stuff. So we just got it back, but we've been trying to do that each year now, and it really it's made that more special to win it. Everybody looks at the money and the purse and everything else, but the history of that event, we're kind of stuck because we haven't been able to get a damn weather break to complete the year that we washed out, and we will complete it. It's just a matter of being that determined to do it. But this will be the 74th edition, and there's not many races other than like Turkey Night that have in Indianapolis that have run 74 years or that long. So to be able to add your name in the record books with that is just a tremendous historical note. And it's just it's special to be able to promote it because we're continuing a tradition that's 7 decades old, and there's not many things that are around that are that steep in tradition.
And also, before I let you go, a lot of folks know you from the RPM workshops down at Daytona every year in February. Are the dates set this year for 25?
They are. We actually have Reno coming up. RPM Reno will be December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th out in Reno, Nevada for the Western workshops, and then we switch over to Daytona in February 25. We start the week Super Bowl Sunday, and Alan, I'm gonna bail on the date, but Super Bowl Sunday we'll do a registration and the Super Bowl party again, which we started last year, and I'm guessing that's going to become a great tradition. And then we'll roll into the workshops on Monday and Tuesday before the Daytona 500, and we just look forward to seeing everyone in Reno and everyone in Daytona.
Well, make sure for the Daytona when you get with us, and Jess has volunteered to speak, and I would love to hear that talk down in Daytona. So you can go ahead and mark her down.
Yeah,
we'll block her out for an hour.
Yeah, no, 2 hours maybe. I mean, she's got a lot to say. Well, Joe, I wish you the best of luck here, especially with the weather for Lake Erie, and appreciate you letting us be a part of it this year.
Well, we appreciate all you guys have done, and look forward to carrying on a strong relationship with Racing America.
All right, talk to you soon. Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. When we come back, we'll take you around the corner to let you know what's on Racing America this weekend.
RacingAmerica.tv has another weekend of short track racing coming up. It begins with a busy Saturday, including coverage of the UARA at Freedom Factory, APC United Late Models in Ontario at Delaware Speedway, Show Me the Money Pro Late Models from Montgomery, and the Montana Super 5 Series at Mission Valley. Racing America winds the weekend down on Sunday at Wisconsin's Slinger Super Speedway with championship night for the late models and more. Spanning the continent with grassroots racing this weekend on RacingAmerica.tv.
5-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
The Oxford Championship Series brings 8 divisions of short track racing to Oxford Plains Speedway Saturday afternoon, September 7th. Super late models will be in action along with limited street stocks and more. It's all Saturday afternoon, September 7th, only on RacingAmerica.tv.
Welcome to the new home for race fans, Racing America. Live short track racing.
Cannot do that all the way around.
Exclusive team content.
I bet, that's what they all say. Any NASCAR fan is really a short track fan at heart.
Behind the scenes access. From grassroots to NASCAR, join us at the home for race fans everywhere. Racing America, it's in our DNA.
Well, it's been a great 2024 season here on Racing America, but we're not finished.
No.
We've got
still a lot of big races coming up.
Yeah, that's right. We got a lot of big races coming up here on Racing America, and it's going to be another great weekend here, and hope that you can join us. If not, we hope that you're at these racetracks. Saturday, the APC United Late Models, they'll be up at Delaware Speedway, not in Delaware.
Ohio?
In Ontario.
Oh, or the state.
Yeah,
okay, well, let's not get into
not even this country.
Okay, gotcha.
That's right. UARA National and the UARA Sportsmen are going to be at Freedom Factory. They're also going to have Modifieds and Crown Vics. That's going to be a big deal down there. Montana Super 5 Series coming back at Mission Valley Super Oval in Montana. the Show Me the Money Pro Late models, they're going twin 75s at Montgomery. And I looked at the entry list today. They got 25 Pro Late models on that entry list.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's going to be great. Oxford Plains Speedway in Maine, the Oxford Championship Series is going to have their championship night. So super late models and all the divisions is part of their Oxford Championship Series. And then Sunday, as we normally do here on Racing America, will be at Slinger Speedway in Wisconsin. Late models will be the feature division. They will also have their championship night. And that's just what I love. I mean, Florida to Maine to Montana, everywhere in between, Ontario. I mean, lots of great races all over the country. And what we hope is that this exposes fans in Florida to racers in Ontario, and fans in Maine to racers in Alabama, and all over the place.
It's important for these drivers and series to be, expanding their reach to race fans across the country. So that's awesome. So it's great people can watch here, but you mentioned earlier, we hope they can get to the track because the tracks often have better snacks than we do.
They do. And every racetrack's got their
own delicacy.
They've got their own thing, and that's worth checking out in and of itself. So check that out here on Racing America. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up this episode of the Bullring.
It's a big night of UARA action at Florida's Freedom Factory, Saturday night, September 7th. The UARA National Super Late Models bring some of the country's best grassroots racers to the Freedom Factory in the Bigley Memorial Tune-Up 125. If that's not enough, the UARA Sportsmen will also be in action. It's the Bigley Memorial 125 for the UARA Super Late Models and more. Saturday night, September 7th at Freedom Factory. And you can catch it all on RacingAmerica.tv.
I'm Jeff Gordon, and you're watching Racing America.
Well, we're on the final lap for another Bullring here on Racing America, and we want to thank all of our guests again, Jeff Taylor, Michael Atwell, Austin Teras, of course, Zach Evans, Aaron Wilson, and Joe Skotnicki. Appreciate all those folks for joining us. And guess what, Jess? In 2 weeks, it is our final Bullring of 2024.
This is a true white flag, then.
Yeah, because the last lap,
that's
in more ways than one, will be in 2 weeks.
I cannot wait.
Yeah,
I'm a little sad. I'm a little excited.
Yeah. Who knows what we'll say? Who knows what we'll do?
Who knows? Make sure you don't miss it.
Yep, that's right. You never can tell. So,
is that one going to be live? I'm just kidding. That'd be bad.
There's a lot I could say. But no, that one won't be live. But we do appreciate you folks for being here with us throughout the year, and hope you'll join us for that big finale coming up here in a couple of weeks. So for Jess Ballard, I'm Alan Deeks, saying so long from here in Charlotte, and we'll see you next time on